These men are the Hatton Garden 7. Their raid on a vault of safety deposit boxes was years in the planning. What they stole worth around £13 million. Today we can show you this. Police surveillance of 3 of the gang, filmed in a London pub in the days after the raid. Daniel Jones in the middle shows the others how he operated the pump which broke into the vault. Today a jury decided William Lincoln, Carl Wood and Hugh Doyle were also part of the conspiracy.
The heart of this is the victims. An awful lot of the victims were elderly. They had their pension pots, they had jewellery, which were heirlooms within inside the vault. They may or may not get those back.
On the Thursday night before Easter, dressed in high visibility jackets, the gang were let into the building's side door. After failing to break into the vault that night, they left. But after Daniel Jones went to a hardware shop to buy more equipment, they came back 2 nights later, and this time, after drilling through 50 centimetres of concrete, 2 of the gang climbed in. They emptied 73 safety deposit boxes in all, into bags and into wheelie bins. They loaded that onto a waiting transit van. This cafe's not far from Hatton Garden, and it's one of the places that the gang used to come when they were planning the raid. Then after the raid, they came back to work out what they were going to do with what they had stolen. But by that point, the police were here too. They were watching them, and they deployed lip readers to try and work out what they were saying. This is Brian Reeder at that cafe a fortnight after the raid. 76 years old, the others called him the Governor. And this is 74-year-old John Collins at the same place. The police say surveillance recordings were effectively their confessions. When the police made their arrests in May, they found jewellery stashed under the stairs and behind skirting boards. Daniel Jones hid some of his haul in the graves of 2 of his partner's relatives. There were precious stones, cash and gold coins. And police found a book called Forensics for Dummies. Noel Smith spent some of his 25 years in prison with both Brian Reeder and Terry Perkins. He used to rob banks. He says the gang would have seen this as their final job, the big one.
You're coming to the end of your sort of lifetime and you've done your bit of birds, you've spent all your time in prison. And what criminals in particular, and professional criminals, are always after is the big one. That's the one where you could get enough money to retire and never have to go back to crime or prison again.
During the trial, it emerged Brian Reeder had been part of the £26 million Brinksmat warehouse robbery in the 80s. Former Flying Squad Commander Roy Ram says with the gang's history, getting the goods back won't be easy.
I think it's a very fair supposition that some of this goods will never ever be recovered. If you look at Brinksmat, there's still half of the gold never ever been recovered.
Police have recovered some of the haul, but around £10 million worth is still missing. The Hatton Garden gang didn't get away with their audacious plot, but somewhere in the world tonight, a lot of what they stole is still out there.